Hello and welcome to another Sam Tutoring YouTube video. Today I'm going to be discussing some of the things that are going to stop you from getting the best grade in your GCSEs and your A-Levels.
Hold on 1 second, please. Excuse me. What do you mean I'm not gonna do well? I'm sorry. Good vibes only. No. I don't receive that. How about that? Oh, I repeat that. Put that in your pipe and smoke it.
And that's good. It's extremely good to be positive about how well you can do and to actually believe you can do well in the first place. But note that the percentage for, let's take GCSE for example, less than 3 out of 10 students achieve the very top marks. And I have seen it written somewhere that faith without works is actually kind of dead.
Oh. Oh, well, that makes sense. What's a word? Oh, you preaching.
We're well into the academic year now, and for many of you, the stakes have changed. Some of you will now be doing GCSEs, some of you will be doing A-Levels, and even some of you watching will now be doing degrees. So to get the best grade now, your style of learning and what you currently do has to grow to meet the situation that you're currently in. So I'm going to be talking about some of the things that, if overlooked, will seriously cost you when it comes to results day in the summer. So as a student and a tutor, some of the things that I've observed is your ability to do well is based on the quality of the resources you have and how well you learn these resources, joined by how well you spend your time. So these are the areas I'm going to be focusing on in this video. Now, I'm going to assume that you have fantastic teachers and that you attend all of your lessons, don't you? Because if you don't, there's probably a very good possibility that you're wasting your time. There is a very strong correlation between attendance and actual attainment when it comes to exam results. So make sure that you do attend all of your lessons, and something that I will always advocate. So whether you're building a wardrobe from IKEA or you're building a house from the ground, you're going to need the components that make up whatever it is you're trying to build. And it's actually these components that you're going to need to be able to source to have a very successful academic year. So first on the resource list will be textbooks. Listen! Textbooks are going to be your friend, okay? You need the right textbooks. Your lessons are actually going to be the introduction to what the subject is, but away from this, most of the work and getting exam ready is going to be done via your textbooks. So it's just so crucial that you have the right textbook. Now, typically, the exam board that's examining you will produce their own textbook, but don't be fooled. There are other alternatives that will do just as good, or even in some cases a better job, to help with your understanding and digesting of the material. So there are a number of things to consider when you're buying or selecting a textbook. How closely is it aligned with the specification? Does it cover the topics in the required depth? Does it have lots of practice questions and exam style questions? How good are the diagrams? Is it endorsed by the exam board? Is it what you need to know for the exam? Okay, so to help you with selecting a textbook, I've actually compiled a reading list that's on the Sam Tutoring website. I'll also put a link in the description for you to have a look. So if you're not sure what books to get, that should help you make good choices for the books you need. Another reason why you won't do well this exam season is not adequately using past papers. Again, you need past papers. They're the best simulation you have of what an actual exam will be like. So you need to use this to your advantage. This might be a bit difficult for you, especially if you're doing GCSE this year, as it's the first year it's being examined. However, there is lots of specimen and practice material in textbooks and on your exam specification websites that you can gain access to. And again, I'll put more links in the description so you can find those resources you need for GCSEs. So you can use past papers in combination with time management techniques to really get a good flavor of where you are, which I will come back to later on in this video. Another resource that is going to be very helpful to you are revision guides. Now, revision guides are helpful, in my opinion, for two major reasons. They summarize the material you've been taught to make it into sizable chunks to make it easier for you to learn. And 2, they often have practice exam material. So a word of warning with revision guides. Now, they're written on the assumption that you've actually covered the material in your lessons and you've gone over them. So you're, i.e., revising the topics. So they don't normally have enough depth for you to be able to cover everything. They're just supposed to be a guide. So if you're depending on them to do absolutely everything, that's not the best course of action. It is a better idea to depend more on your textbooks than on revision guides. Another major area of why you may not do as well as you should this year in your exams is learning technique. So you can have the best resources possible, but if you don't actually have the capacity to effectively learn them, it's actually quite pointless. Do you understand it in the first place? And if so, do you understand how you can apply it to a particular question or a possible scenario? If you don't understand it, have you taken the time to go over it with the textbook? Try to really establish what it is you don't understand and stop saying vague statements like all of it. This way, when you go and visit your teacher with a specific set of problems, they'll be impressed that you've actually taken the time to go and try and solve these by yourself rather than just being lazy and asking for all of the answers from the teacher. You're also going to need to adopt a good note-taking method, such as the outline method or the Cornell method. It's basically a way to just arrange what you've been taught into manageable chunks. This, in my opinion, is a lot more important than using revision guides because you're actually taking what you're learning from lessons and the textbook and learning it for yourself, that when you look back over, you'll be able to understand much more quickly than something that's written by somebody else. But I will discuss this more in future videos. If you're doing a humanities subject, this might mean that you do multiple essays every week to get ready for your exams. We've got resources and we've got learning technique. Now, the final part of why you won't do as well as you should is time management. You can learn the specifications and you can be exam ready to the max. But if this happens 40 years after you're supposed to actually take the exam, it probably won't be as much benefit to you as if you had been ready in the time that you were given. Now let's actually break down time management and go through some of the things that students really struggle with. Number 1, lack of consistency. The actual peak thing about exams is most of you won't do well, not because you don't understand or not because of you're not capable, it's because you lack a consistent, productive routine to allow you to go over the content in enough detail to be able to do well in exams. A really good schedule that works for you will help remedy this situation. Now, it doesn't need to be super duper regimented, but you need to have a consistent idea of what you should be doing at certain times of the day. And the more you stick to the schedule, the easier it becomes for you to develop good habits as you take the focus off yourself and your willpower and you kind of go on autopilot, which if you notice is what we as humans spend most of our time doing anyway. Now, I'm always hearing all the time from my students and the young people that I speak to is, Sam, I'm just not disciplined. And just like anything else, discipline can be learned and developed. For example, if you don't go to the gym at all, you're not likely to have a lot of muscle mass. But if you're gymming every day, you're going to be making gains. It actually takes longer to do all of these things that you're trying to do. So making full use of your resources, past papers, making notes, all of these are very, very time consuming. And yes, you do have Easter holidays and study leave and all of these holidays in between, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it'll be enough time, considering that you don't know how fast you're going to learn material. They're going to be subjects that you find harder than others, and they're going to be other external factors. So this is something that constantly trips up students and will cause you to get a lower grade than you're capable of. It's a good idea to do past papers after content has been covered so you don't forget it and you can see how well you understand it. But as you get closer to your exams, do more, especially complete past papers under time conditions so you can have the best representation of how you would do if you took the exam on that day. You definitely want to strike the balance with past papers between not doing them too early that you forget them before your exams, and not leaving it too late that you don't actually learn from the exams that you do. It's so important that you understand the difference between knowing something and recognizing something. You can, for example, meet somebody that you haven't seen in a while, recognize their face but not know their name or even where you remember them from. And this translates to education as well. You can be familiar with a concept, an equation, a train of thought. It could be absolutely anything. But if you're not actually able to answer it to an adequate standard in an exam, you won't get the marks. This again is why past papers are so important. Make enough time to go through everything in as much detail as possible, but also make time to fill in any gaps in your knowledge. Another reason you won't do as well as you should in your exams is, believe it or not, because of coursework.
Coursework? Oh, no. No, this one, I'm afraid you're wrong there, Sam. Coursework's part of the exam. You actually get graded for coursework. It's added to your final grade. Come on, man. That's whack.
Granted, yes, it does constitute part of your examination, but what we tend to do as students is leave it to the last minute. And this actually infringes on your revision time. And what you need to understand is the closer you get to an exam deadline for your coursework especially, the less likely you're able to make improvements in your actual score. The best way to go about this is to do it as early as possible so you can get feedback. The more feedback you're able to get from your teachers, the more likely you are to improve your score. So you want to get into a situation where you're going back and forth with your teacher as many times as he or she will allow you to get the maximum marks for your coursework. What you also need to remember is getting closer to the deadline, students tend to leave it to the last minute. So you're going to have more of your peers that are going to be submitting coursework so they can receive information how they can make it better as well. The more coursework your teacher has to mark, the less time she's going to be able to spend on yours particularly. And the less time she's able to spend on yours particularly, the less likely you're going to be able to increase your grade in that particular coursework. And the last thing I'm going to talk about today as to some of the things that distract or will cause you not to get the best grade this year is, believe it or not, relationships. Now, you're getting a bit older, a bit more freedom, puberty's been good to you, and your hormones are wishing around your body like a washing machine, and yeah, you're starting to notice her. Or if you're a girl, you're starting to notice him. But don't play yourself, okay? Don't play yourself. Hey girl, my name's M.Prospects. What do you say I waste 6 months of your time? Based on the fact you probably haven't identified your innate worth yet, and I can take advantage of the fact because I'm deeply insecure myself. Would you say I waste some of your time and then we can go to counseling later on to get over this relationship of our youth? Most of the things you see, these relationship goals, are not actually real, okay? I can go into Google and type in man and woman holding hands on beach and find your relationship goals. Now, I'm not saying you can't go on to have amazing and wonderful relationships, but what I am saying is don't feel you have to find the one or bae right now when you're still learning about yourself and you're investing in your future. I like this quote from Michelle Obama when asked about dating when she was at school, and she said something really profound. She said, "There is no boy cute enough or interesting enough to stop you from getting your education. If I had been worried about who liked me and who thought I was cute when I was your age, I wouldn't be married to the President of the United States." True that, yeah. I agree. This opportunity you have to do extremely well and prepare yourself for your future won't always be there. So make wise decisions. Thank you for taking time to watch this video. Is there anything I've missed? Have you experienced something that I didn't mention in the video? Do I need to make a part 2? Please let me know in the comments. Please feel free to share this with all the people you know, and don't be an enemy of progress. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. It really helps this channel. And also take time to subscribe. Come on now. Behave yourself. Hit the subscribe button. Come on. Come on. There is a companion blog post to this video, so do head over to the Sam Tutoring website and check that out. I did do a video on the Pomodoro technique and its benefits, so check that out. I'll also put a link to that in the description. Do feel free to follow us on social media. Do share a lot of information on the various platforms, and yeah. Let me know what you'd like to see. Send me emails, send me questions. I'd love to know what's happening with you in your education and be of help in any way that I can. So until next time, I'll see you soon. Peace.